Hey everybody, Joel Hansen here, Anybody Nutrition, nutrition for anybody and any body. And today we're going to be talking about Melanotan 2, or Melanotan as most people would call it. And we're also going to touch on some horror stories. So stay tuned for that. So Melanotan 2, for those of you who don't know, it is a peptide. The simplest explanation is it makes you tan. A little bit more in depth is it basically activates the melanin in your skin. It's like a partial melanin fragment, activating fragment. So how do you use it? So if you use this and you are white, even if you are darker in skin color, but let's be honest, it's more so for white people. In fact, it was created for type 1 individuals to try to prevent the skin cancer. Although it didn't pass into pharmacy, so we can also touch on that. So basically, if you're white, you take Melanotan with sun exposure, and you are going to get darker than you ever have before, and you are going to tan a lot quicker, a lot better, and really, I think it's better because you won't burn, especially if you're going on a trip or a vacation. So I am white, like normally white. Right now I'm pretty tanned because thanks to Melanotan. But I'm going to post a picture right here. And basically, as you see, I used to be really white. So regardless of the transformation picture, you see the skin color and the skin difference. Like I almost look a different race after the Melanotan and the sun exposure. The crazy thing with it too is how fast it could work. So you don't have to use Melanotan for months on end. Literally within a week or two, you can have extreme differences in skin color. And I've never used dosages as high as other individuals, so I can only imagine how quickly they would change color. Let's talk about dosage. So dosing. The most I've ever used in a single injection is 500 mcgs, so half a milligram. And generally the vial, I can go get one. It comes in 10 milligram vials, which will last a long time and do a lot more than you'd think it would, especially when they're maybe $30 a pop. So the first time I used it, I kind of went with a very standard dosing protocol, which is half a mig or 500 mcgs, basically every day for about a week. If you do have any freckles on you, especially on your face is where you're going to notice them the most, they are going to darken with that high of a dosage and that frequency though. So after a week, maybe 10 days, maybe 2 weeks of doing this, I noticed I had a couple freckles on my face starting to darken, and that can be permanent. Some people say it's not, but it really can be. So I cut that as that dosing was way too high. But again, the amount of the color I gained in that week or two was ridiculous. So if you're going on a trip, very last minute, and you want, I would say at most I'd recommend is half a mig for about 7 days or something, and with the sun exposure, you're going to darken super fast. So what I actually do now is I will take 200 mcgs, max 300 mcgs, like only around the time I tan. So maybe, let's say 3 times a week, and usually I won't tan that much, but it'll be like maybe if I tan once or twice that week, it'll be on that day, and then maybe once or another day additionally. So that is really the highest recommended dosage I would recommend, and within like a month or 3 weeks, you're still going to get crazy color. Again, only using 200 mcgs, and if you only use 200 mcgs, that means your 10 mig vial is going to last you 50 injections or administrations. So that's a long time. Some individuals use up to 1 milligram or mg, mig kind of like during a loading phase. And if you can handle it, that's cool. I couldn't do it for the side effects. So now let's get on the side effects. The side effects aren't really anything like too detrimental. It'll be flushing. I use it before bed because if you go out in public after using it, you're just red. Like you look like you're either sunburnt or embarrassed or sick. So you will flush red. It will give you great erections. This sounds hilarious, but if you're taking Melanotan, especially like, let's say you take half a mig, you're gonna notice it. And some people experience spontaneous erections, like they'll be walking down the street and all of a sudden they're hard. I've never experienced it to like that degree at all. More so just when I, let's say, won at one, or when I woke up, it was there and it was very present. So that's actually I think it's kind of cool. So fun side effect. And that was actually one of the reasons why apparently it didn't make it to be pharmaceutically marketed, which I don't know why. That's not really such a negative thing, I don't think. Skin cancer, spontaneous erections. I'll let you pick. So now, last thing I'm going to talk about is kind of the aftermath, the long-term Melanotan. So the first time I used it would have been about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it's really interesting. So I've gone probably, let's say I've used it for 2 years. There's probably been about almost a year or at least an 8-month stretch where I have not used any Melanotan with minimal sun exposure or none. I'm in Canada. The winters are treacherous. There's no UV rays. And you will still keep your color. I have never been as white as I have in that picture since I've used Melanotan. And that doesn't mean I won't lighten up. I will absolutely lighten up. But you're going to stay darker. And then even if you don't use Melanotan, with sun exposure, you're going to darken up quicker. So it's almost like a muscle memory. Your skin has like a tanning memory. So once you get super tanned, or as tanned as you basically want to be, you'll get back there quicker with or without Melanotan. You will stay darker with or without Melanotan. So really, it's pretty amazing. And so I would also probably say in that regard, if you like your white skin, like being very, very light, fair-skinned, and you want to just get darker and then get light again, I would actually not use Melanotan because you aren't going to get as fair-skinned or as light as you were, or if you would, it will take, I would say, years, or at least like a year and a half. Huge benefit of this, though, is you tan, you get a bit darker, you won't burn. Although, again, being quite white, I was like fairly susceptible to burns. Some people, especially, red hair, let's say, they literally see the sun and they burn. I didn't burn that easily, but if I went anywhere tropical or prolonged exposure in the sun, I would absolutely burn. And with Melanotan, I have not burned. Even under like conditions where I haven't been using Melanotan for months, or haven't been tanning for months, or I haven't tanned, it's just like I just don't burn as easily. It's again, it's like this skin tan memory. Your body just says, "Oh, sun exposure. Now I know what to do with it because you've been this tan before, and it'll tan you." So it's pretty crazy. Now on to the horror stories. Okay, so I love both these guys. I have 2 stories, and they're both treacherous. So I mentioned I've never used dosaging as high as 1 mig, and this is the reason why. I had a friend, great guy, but he used like probably a whole vial, so 10 migs in a week or 2, and he changed brown so fast. Like he's white, he's as fair as I was. He was so like brown and like his change that he actually kind of looked sick. And I didn't see this, but some people said he almost looked purple, which if you look online, you will find somebody who again used a whack of this stuff with sun exposure. And we're talking minimal. We're talking Canadian winter, going to a tanning bed twice with a vial of Melanotan. And this guy looked like Arabic. It was crazy. So way too fast to change. And like I said, he almost had this weird purpley skin thing going on. So kind of first horror story. Don't use that quickly. And this second horror story, debatably even worse. I had another friend, God love him. He used a whole 10 mg vial accidentally. He didn't understand the dosing. And he used it all within like 2 days maybe. He might have even used a couple vials within a couple days. Like, instead of shooting 500 mcgs, he might have been shooting like 5 mgs or like just something, or 2 mgs or just something crazy. And basically what happened is for a whole like 3 or 4 straight days, he was beet red, super, super flushed. I'm surprised he didn't experience any like real insomnia or anything, but just this poor guy, again, flushed red all the damn time. And I mean, that was enough. It turned him off it. I mean, no shit. He literally took a whole vial, if not multiple vials, within a couple days. So also look up how to dose the stuff, because you don't want that happening. I can only imagine how unpleasant that would be. Last tips. You may feel a little nauseous or kind of get like a weird, I don't know, like head pressure, head rush, or blood to your face or head. Again, flushing. This is normal. Again, if you feel it really bad, use a smaller dosage. And if you use smaller dosages, it'll definitely help. Additionally, I would say using it before bed seems to be the best. However, best for myself. However, some individuals experience a bit of insomnia with it, and I think it's just the extra pressure on the head. So if you're taking anything which is already going to raise your blood pressure or mess with your sleep, it's probably not best to use it at bedtime. But for most people, I would say bedtime is great. And the only other thing I would say is be safe with it. Don't do anything stupid. You will be able to essentially tan less, have less sun exposure, not burn. Going to tanning beds, it isn't, I'm not going to say it's healthy for you, but using Melanotan, you can go a lot less. And again, especially if you're just going to use it for, you know, kind of the few weeks or a month up to, let's say, a tropical trip, that's where I would really recommend it. Or even in the summer. Again, it's amazing because you don't have to buy sunscreen or use sunscreen. You might want to, but, you know. Lastly, really quick tip. Your face, just because from normal exposure, it has a lot of melanin in it, you're going to want to cover it. If you're using a tanning bed, your face is going to tan a lot quicker than your body. Again, kind of what happened to my friend. Again, so much melanin, etc. He looked Arabic, at least in his face, because his face was even darker than his body. So after a few times of going tanning with Melanotan, let's say you're in the tanning bed for 10 minutes, you're going to want to probably maybe use like maximum 3 or 4 minutes of the UV on your face and then cover it up. Or if you're happy with the color your face is, you could cover it the whole time. Because even for me, again, and I've done that once or twice, and my body or my face is definitely the same color as my body. So that's last quick tip. That I hope it was informative. And I have nothing negative really to say about Melanotan. Enjoy.